As the movie starts, our protagonist Sam finds himself at a party hosted by a woman from his past, his ex-girlfriend. But this isn't a typical party for Sam. His motive isn't revelry, but reclamation. He's here to retrieve his belongings left behind in her house when they parted ways. Sam's ex-girlfriend, the hostess, asks him to wait patiently amid a sea of strangers. But as time drags on, Sam's patience frays. He can't help but wonder if his ex-girlfriend's intention is merely to prolong their awkward encounter. Finally, Sam gathers the courage to inquire about his belongings, hoping to expedite his exit from this uncomfortable situation. His ex-girlfriend reveals their location in a nearby room, but instead of letting him retrieve them right away, she insists they need to talk privately about their unresolved issues. Resigned, Sam heads to the room, desperately searching for his belongings. Frustrated and running out of patience, he locks the door, determined to find his possessions without any more delays. It's then in this claustrophobic room that a sudden nosebleed overtakes him, forcing him to pause and rest. In the midst of this unsettling moment, a piercing scream emanates from outside the room, setting Sam's nerves on edge. But exhaustion wins and Sam falls into a fitful sleep. When Sam awakens the next morning, disoriented and bleary-eyed, his initial intention is to finally leave with his belongings. But what he discovers outside the room is a surreal nightmare. The party venue is in shambles and ominous splatters of blood stain the walls and floors. Panic grips him as he realizes the world around him has unraveled into madness. A daring exploration beyond the room's confines reveals a gruesome truth. The partygoers, including his ex-girlfriend, have all transformed into grotesque, ravenous zombies. Sam's heartbeat quickens. He must now confront the terrifying reality of a zombie apocalypse. As he grapples with the horrifying sights around him, a curious sound from the floor below piques his interest. Startled by a gunshot that reverberates through the building, Sam investigates its source, breaking through the weakened floorboards to find a man who has taken his own life after shooting his zombified wife. It's here that Sam secures both sustenance and weaponry, recognizing the dire necessity of survival. He rushes to seal all exits, fortifying the building against the zombie onslaught. With determination and resourcefulness, turning to his own room via the elevator, Sam encounters an elderly zombie, but he opts not to kill it, sensing its non-aggressive demeanor. Instead, he uses a belt to secure the elevator's iron door, a makeshift barricade between life and death. As the days stretch on, Sam devises a routine to maintain his sanity amidst the chaos. He listens to recorded music, studies the erratic movements of the zombies outside, and calculates his dwindling food supplies. Unbeknownst to him, his music blasts inadvertently draw the attention of the zombies, making his isolated sanctuary vulnerable. With time on his hands, Sam begins to contemplate the possibility of other survivors in the city. The once thriving metropolis has transformed into a desolate, eerily silent place, reminiscent of a ghost town. Days turn into weeks as Sam struggles to keep despair at bay. He fills his hours with exercises, zombie skirmishes, and various activities to stave off loneliness. The absence of human connection threatens to consume him with hopelessness. The stench of death eventually forces Sam to address the corpses downstairs, which he's been reluctant to dispose of. Instead, he decides to preserve the bodies of the deceased couple, sealing them in a room to contain the odor. Amidst these grim circumstances, basic necessities become luxuries. Water runs out, and Sam is compelled to find alternative sources for his survival. He adapts to his new reality, learning to make do with what he has. One fateful night, while Sam is sleeping, a heart-pounding dream jolts him awake. In the dream, the zombies breach his sanctuary, biting into him with savage hunger. The next morning, shaken but alive, Sam attempts to regain his composure. He turns to exercise and music as his lifelines, the only constants in this ever-shifting nightmare. In addition to everything, Sam has frequent conversations with a peculiar companion, a zombie grandfather he affectionately calls Alfred. Alfred, a remnant of the past, becomes Sam's strange source of comfort in these trying times. To secure his water supply, he collects various items that can be used to gather rainwater when the skies open up. One day, as Sam practices his shooting skills, he spots a curious cat passing by. Excited by the prospect of companionship, Sam hurries downstairs to befriend the feline. The cat cautiously approaches when he offers it food, but then it bolts suddenly, prompting Sam to chase after it. In his pursuit, Sam unwittingly attracts the attention of nearby zombies who start pursuing him. Panicking, he races back into his building, slamming the door shut behind him. His disappointment weighs heavily. The cat was his only hope of companionship, and it had slipped through his fingers. During the chase, Sam sustains a leg injury, leading him to fear infection and transformation into a zombie. Desperation grips him, and he points his gun at his own head, contemplating a drastic end. After a tense pause, relief washes over him as he realizes the wound is a mere scratch, not the death sentence he feared. He breaks into a nervous, cathartic laugh. The next day, Sam notices something peculiar. The zombies have vanished from his vicinity. He peers from the building's rooftop but finds no sign of human or zombie life. With the chill of approaching winter, Sam seeks warmth in a hot bath, but the isolation begins to gnaw at his sanity. Loneliness sets in, and his initial plan to leave the city is thwarted by fear. His frustration boils over as he directs his anger towards Alfred. In an effort to fill the void, Sam unleashes a barrage of loud drumming, unknowingly drawing the zombies back to his location. The monotonous and solitary existence gradually erodes Sam's mental stability. In his state of emptiness, he struggles to find solace. One night, he's jolted awake by a sound outside and fires his gun at the door, only to discover that it's not a zombie, but a survivor. Sam cautiously ushers the woman, Sarah, into his refuge, relieved to find someone uninfected for the first time. Sarah shares her survival story, having moved from building to building like Sam. She reveals that there are others who've managed to survive similarly, though many are suffering from stress or have succumbed to madness. As Sam introduces Sarah to Alfred, they share stories of their daily routines and challenges. Having another person around awakens something in Sam. He begins to remember the essence of life when surrounded by humanity. The next day, Sam decides to share his limited food supply with Sarah. However, it means venturing into one of the rooms once occupied by multiple zombies. He punches a hole in the door and eliminates the threats inside, securing essential supplies. Upon returning, panic washes over Sam when he realizes Sarah is nowhere to be found. She's already made her way to the building's rooftop, explaining her intent to leave. Staying in the house indefinitely is untenable for her. The uncertainty of their situation compels her to search for fellow survivors and safety. Sam pleads with Sarah to stay, revealing his own fear of being alone. She, in turn, warns him that isolation may drive him to delusion and self-harm. Sam apologizes for his earlier harsh words, realizing the gravity of the situation. In a stunning twist, it becomes clear that everything Sam experienced with Sarah was a hallucination, a product of his isolated mind's longing for companionship. Later, it was discovered that Sarah had never woken up since that fateful night. She had actually passed away. Sam felt immense sadness as he had to come to terms with this harsh reality. He organized a heartfelt funeral for Sarah, paying his respects to the friend he had imagined and cherished. As Sam went through Sarah's belongings in her bag, he made a surprising discovery. Sarah had been married. However, her entire family had succumbed to the zombie outbreak, leaving Sarah as the sole survivor. Sam decided to heed Sarah's advice and let go of the recordings that had kept him company during his lonely days. However, an unexpected twist occurred when a fire alarm rang out, triggered by the smoke from the burned recordings. The sound attracted the zombies outside, and they began to infiltrate the building. Sam, realizing the danger, attempted to fight the horde of zombies. However, their sheer numbers overwhelmed him, forcing him to retreat and lock himself in the elevator where Alfred had once stayed. Desperately, he tried to climb the elevator shaft to reach higher ground. In the midst of this struggle, one of the zombies caught up with him, leading to a fierce battle. Sam managed to escape through a hole he had created earlier, only to discover several more zombies lurking behind the thick smoke. Fortunately, they seemed unaware of his presence, allowing him to slip away unnoticed. In a final adrenaline-fueled act, Sam hastily exited the building and threw a prepared rope to cross over to the neighboring structure. As a zombie closed in on him, he made a daring leap, crashing into the adjacent building and losing consciousness. After a period of unconsciousness, Sam eventually regained his senses. Now, he faced the daunting task of navigating through the interconnected buildings in the area, determined to find his way to the next destination. Do you think Sam would survive? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Flick Spoilers, signing off.